She thought she could get away with it. She thought I'd never find out. But on our anniversary, I caught her in the act. What happened next? She never saw it coming. Watch till the end, and if you love shocking real-life betrayals, subscribe now for more. I always believed anniversaries were meant to be special. A day to celebrate love, commitment, and the memories shared over time. For weeks, I had been planning the perfect night dinner at the restaurant where we had our first date, a heartfelt gift, and a surprise weekend trip. I wanted to remind her how much she meant to me. But as it turned out, I was the only one who cared about that day. It all started with small things, little details I should have noticed earlier. The way she had been acting distant, how her phone was suddenly always on silent, and the fact that she had started dressing up more when she wasn't with me. I told myself I was overthinking, that maybe she was just stressed. But deep down, a part of me felt uneasy. That morning, I woke up feeling excited, expecting a sweet message from her, something simple like, "Happy anniversary, babe. Can't wait to see you tonight." But instead, my phone was silent. Hours passed and still nothing. No text, no call. I started to feel a knot in my chest, but I convinced myself she was just busy. Around noon, I sent her a message, "Happy anniversary, love. Can't wait to celebrate tonight." Minutes turned into an hour. No response. That's when I started to feel like something was really wrong. I tried to push the thought away. Maybe she was just caught up with work. Maybe she was planning a surprise for me. But the nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. Finally, she texted back, "Hey, sorry. Work is crazy today. I might have to stay late. Can we do dinner another night?" I stared at the screen. A simple, casual text. No happy anniversary. No I love you. No sign that she even remembered. I should have let it go. I should have accepted her excuse and waited. But something told me to dig deeper. I called her office knowing she wouldn't pick up. But when the receptionist answered, I asked, "Hey, I just wanted to check, has she left the office yet?" There was a pause. Then she said, "Oh, she took a half day today. Left around noon." I felt a chill run through me. She had left work hours ago. But instead of spending the day with me like we had planned, she had lied. I hung up without saying another word, my mind racing. There was only one question left. Where was she? I didn't want to assume the worst. Maybe she was out shopping. Maybe she was with a friend. But I needed to know for sure. I checked her location history, something she didn't know I had access to. My heart started pounding when I saw it. She wasn't at work. She wasn't at home. She was at a hotel. For a moment, I just sat there, staring at the screen, hoping I was wrong. Maybe she was meeting someone for business. Maybe there was an innocent reason. But deep down, I already knew. I grabbed my keys and drove, my hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I wasn't thinking. I just needed to see it with my own eyes. When I pulled up to the hotel, I hesitated. My heart was hammering in my chest, and a part of me wanted to turn back, to pretend I never saw anything. But I couldn't. I had to know. I walked inside, my breath shallow as I scanned the lobby. I wasn't sure what I was looking for until I saw her. She was standing near the elevator, laughing. And she wasn't alone. The man beside her reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. She had no idea I was watching. And in that moment, everything changed. I stood there, frozen, watching the woman I had loved for years laugh with another man as if I didn't exist. As if the anniversary we were supposed to be celebrating meant absolutely nothing to her. Every part of me wanted to march over, demand answers, make a scene, but something inside me told me to wait. To watch. To fully understand just how deep this betrayal went. I took a step back, making sure I wasn't in her line of sight. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, but I forced myself to stay calm. I needed to think, to process what was happening before I reacted. The man she was with, he wasn't just some random stranger. I had seen him before. It took me a moment to place him, but then it hit me. He was someone from her work. A coworker. Someone she had casually mentioned in conversations over the past few months. "Oh, he's just a friend," she had once said when I asked about him. Just a friend. Right? I watched as they stepped into the elevator together, the doors closing behind them. My stomach twisted, but I refused to let emotions take over. Instead, I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture. Not because I needed proof for anyone else, I needed it for myself. A reminder that this was real. That the person I had trusted completely had been lying to me all along. I waited a few minutes, staring at the elevator panel, watching the numbers light up as it ascended. Floor 6. I clenched my jaw. At that moment, I had a choice. I could walk away, pretend I never saw this, let her come home later that night and lie straight to my face. Or I could find out exactly what was going on, no matter how much it hurt. I chose the second option. I walked over to the front desk, keeping my expression neutral. "Hey," I said casually, leaning in slightly. "I was supposed to meet my girlfriend here, but I think she gave me the wrong room number. She said she was on the 6th floor. Any chance you could remind me which room she checked into?" The receptionist hesitated. "I'm sorry, sir, but we can't give out guest information." I forced a small chuckle, shaking my head. "Totally understand. I just don't want to keep her waiting. Maybe I can call her." "Oh wait, my phone died. If I could just check the name on the room real quick, I'd really appreciate it." I could see the hesitation in her eyes, but I was banking on one thing: most people don't like confrontation. They don't want to deal with an upset customer, and if you act confident enough, they won't question you. After a moment, she sighed and glanced at her screen. She checked in under her name. "Room 608. I forced a grateful smile. "Thanks. You saved me from looking like an idiot." I turned and walked away, my heart hammering against my ribs. This was it. I was about to get the truth, whether I was ready for it or not. I took the elevator to the 6th floor, the silence in the small space making my thoughts race even faster. My mind replayed every conversation we'd had over the past few months, every time she had told me she loved me, every time she had kissed me goodnight. Had any of it been real? Or had she just been playing a role, keeping me around while she had someone else on the side? When the elevator doors opened, I stepped out into the hallway. Room 608 was just a few doors down. I walked toward it, my hands clenched into fists. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Knock? Wait? Burst in? Every possible scenario ran through my mind, but none of them prepared me for what actually happened. Just as I reached the door, I heard laughter from inside. Her laughter. Light, carefree, like she didn't have a single worry in the world. Then another voice, his voice, low and amused, responding to whatever joke she had just made. I felt my jaw tighten. That was all I needed to hear. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, hitting the record button before knocking firmly on the door. Silence. Then a soft shuffle. A few seconds later, the door cracked open just slightly and she peeked out. The moment her eyes met mine, I saw it. The panic. The sheer disbelief that I was standing there, that I had found her. Her lips parted slightly, like she wanted to say something, but no words came out. I raised an eyebrow. "Surprised to see me?" She blinked rapidly, stepping into the hallway, closing the door just enough so I couldn't see inside. What are you doing here?" I kept my expression unreadable. "Funny. I was about to ask you the same thing." Her face paled. She glanced over her shoulder, then back at me as if trying to figure out how to explain this away. But there was no excuse she could give, nothing she could say that would make this okay. I gestured toward the door behind her. "So, what's the story? Work emergency? Late night meeting?" Her mouth opened and closed like she wanted to lie, but she knew she was caught. And that's when I realized something. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't guilty. She was just mad that she had been caught. And that's when I knew this wasn't just some mistake. This was who she was. And I wasn't going to let her lie her way out of this. She stood there, frozen, searching for an excuse, a lie, anything that could get her out of this situation. I watched as her mind raced, her eyes darting around as if the right words would magically appear in front of her. But there was no way out. Not this time. She had backed herself into a corner, and now all she could do was scramble for a way to soften the inevitable blow. I kept my voice calm, controlled. "Go ahead," I said, crossing my arms. "Tell me what you were just about to say." She swallowed hard, forcing a nervous smile. "It's not what it looks like." A bitter laugh escaped my lips before I could stop it. "Not what it looks like?" I repeated, shaking my head. "That's the best you've got?" She hesitated, then stepped closer, lowering her voice as if the guy inside wouldn't hear her. "Listen, just let me explain." I cut her off before she could finish. "Explain what? That you lied? That you said you were working late when you were actually here?" I gestured toward the door behind her. "That you're in a hotel room with someone else, on our anniversary?" Her face twisted with frustration. "Can we not do this here?" she hissed, glancing down the hallway like she was worried someone might hear us. I narrowed my eyes. "Oh, I'm sorry. Is this inconvenient for you?" She exhaled sharply, rubbing her temples. "You're blowing this out of proportion." I laughed again, but this time there was no humor in it. "Really? Then why don't you open the door?" Panic flashed across her face. "What? No. Why not?" I challenged. "If it's not what it looks like, open the door and prove me wrong." She shifted her weight, her breathing uneven now. She was trapped and she knew it. There was no excuse, no explanation that could erase the fact that I had caught her red-handed. I stared at her for a long moment, letting the silence stretch between us. Then, without waiting for an answer, I reached past her and knocked hard on the door. She gasped, grabbing my arm. "Stop it. I ignored her. A few seconds later, the door creaked open slightly and there he was. The guy she had chosen over me. He looked confused at first, then his eyes flickered to her and it all clicked. "Oh," he muttered, running a hand through his hair. Hey man." "Hey man?" That was all he had to say? Like this was just some awkward misunderstanding? I clenched my jaw, my entire body tense. "So this is him?" I asked, turning back to her. She said nothing. Her silence told me everything I needed to know. I shook my head and let out a slow breath, forcing myself to stay in control. "You know what? I'm done. You two deserve each other." I turned to leave, but then something occurred to me. I stopped and glanced over my shoulder. "Just one more thing." They both looked at me wary. I smirked, pulling out my phone. "I wonder how your friends and family would feel about this." I tapped the screen and suddenly her face turned ghostly pale. You recorded this?" she stammered. I shrugged. "Just enough to prove the truth." Her expression twisted into panic. "You wouldn't." I tilted my head. "Why not? You had no problem lying to me. You had no problem sneaking around. Why should I protect you now?" The guy shifted uncomfortably, stepping back into the room like he didn't want any part of this. She reached for my arm, desperation in her eyes now. "Please, don't do this." I pulled away, shaking my head. "You made your choice. Now you live with it." And with that, I walked away, leaving her standing there, broken. As I stepped into the elevator, I felt the weight of months of lies finally lifting off my shoulders. She had tried to play me, tried to deceive me, but in the end, she was the one who lost everything. And the best part? I didn't have to do anything. Karma would take care of the rest. As the elevator doors closed behind me, I felt a rush of emotions flooding through me: anger, betrayal, disbelief. But underneath all of that, there was something else. Relief. It was a strange feeling, knowing that the person I had trusted the most had been deceiving me for who knows how long. But at least now I had clarity. There were no more excuses, no more second-guessing. The truth was out and I could finally walk away with my dignity intact. I drove home in silence, my grip on the steering wheel tight. My mind replayed the moment she opened that door, the way her face had drained of color when she realized she was caught. She hadn't even apologized. No remorse, no guilt, just panic that her lies had been exposed. That told me everything I needed to know about the kind of person she truly was. By the time I pulled into my driveway, my phone had already started buzzing. I didn't even have to look to know it was her. I ignored the call. A few seconds later, another one came in. Then a text. "Please, talk to me." I set my phone down on the table and walked away. She didn't deserve a response. She had plenty of opportunities to be honest with me, to come clean, to end things the right way. Instead, she chose to sneak around and treat me like a fool. Now, she was dealing with the consequences. For the next hour, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. More texts. More missed calls. Desperate attempts to do damage control. I didn't respond to a single one. If she had something to say, she should have said it before I caught her in a hotel room with someone else. Eventually, the messages started to change. "It's not what you think. I swear it was a mistake. Please don't tell anyone." And then came the worst one. "I still love you." I laughed bitterly at the screen. Love? If she loved me, she wouldn't have spent our anniversary with another man. If she loved me, she wouldn't have lied over and over again, expecting me to never find out. The truth was, she didn't love me, she loved the comfort of having me around while she did whatever she wanted behind my back. That night, I finally let myself feel the weight of everything. The memories, the moments we had shared, the future I had once imagined with her, all of it was gone. And maybe deep down I had known for a while that things weren't right, but I had been too afraid to admit it. Now, I had no choice but to face reality. The next morning, I woke up to even more messages. But this time, there was a shift. She wasn't just apologizing, she was getting angry. "So you're just going to ignore me? I made one mistake, and you're acting like I never meant anything to you. Are you really going to throw everything away over this?" The audacity. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something that I should have done a long time ago. I blocked her. No more calls. No more messages. No more explanations. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. It should have ended there, but it didn't. Later that day, I started getting messages from mutual friends, people who were suddenly very interested in my side of the story. At first, I wasn't sure why, but then I realized what had happened. She had started telling people her version of events, twisting the story to make herself look like the victim. It wasn't serious. He overreacted. It was just a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? She had spent our anniversary in a hotel room with another guy, and she wanted to call that a misunderstanding? I could have let it go. I could have walked away and let her spread whatever lies made her feel better about herself. But then something interesting happened. The guy she had cheated with? He reached out to me. I didn't expect it. In fact, when I saw his name pop up on my phone, I almost didn't answer. But curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear what he had to say. Hey man, his voice was cautious, like he knew I could hang up at any second. Look, I don't know if you even want to hear this, but I didn't know she was with you. She told me she was single. I let out a slow breath, pinching the bridge of my nose. You expect me to believe that? I swear, he insisted. I only found out when she started freaking out after you showed up. That's when she admitted everything. I stayed quiet, processing his words. He could have been lying, trying to cover himself, but something about the way he sounded told me he was being honest. I just thought you should know, he continued. She's trying to make it seem like this was nothing, but she told me she loved me. That she was leaving you. My jaw tightened. So she had been planning this all along. The lies went even deeper than I had thought. She's not worth it, man, he added after a pause. Move on. You're better off without her. He was right. And I knew it. I hung up the call without another word, staring at the wall for a long moment. Then, for the first time since this entire mess started, I smiled. Not because I was happy about what had happened, but because I realized something. I had won. Not by getting revenge. Not by exposing her. But by walking away with my dignity while she destroyed herself. Karma was already doing its job. And I didn't need to lift a finger. Days passed and life started to feel normal again, or at least as normal as it could after discovering the person I loved had been living a double life. The first few days were the hardest. Even though I had blocked her, even though I knew I had done the right thing, there was still a part of me that couldn't believe it had happened. Every time I unlocked my phone, my fingers almost instinctively hovered over her contact before I reminded myself she didn't exist in my world anymore. But despite my silence, she didn't give up. Even with her number blocked, she found other ways to get to me. She messaged from different accounts, used mutual friends to reach out, and even showed up outside my place once, standing by her car like she was waiting for me to come out. I watched her through the window, my mind racing with a mix of emotions, anger, exhaustion, frustration. But I didn't go out there. I didn't give her what she wanted. Instead, I did the one thing she never expected. I moved on. I started going out again, reconnecting with friends I had neglected while I was caught up in a relationship with someone who never truly valued me. It was strange at first, stepping back into a world that didn't revolve around her. But the more time passed, the easier it became. I realized how much of myself I had lost in that relationship, how much I had sacrificed for someone who wasn't even worth it. Then, one night, just when I thought she had finally given up, she found a new way to insert herself back into my life. It was late. I had just gotten home after grabbing dinner with a friend, my mind finally free of the weight of the past few weeks. I kicked off my shoes, grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge, and collapsed onto the couch, flipping through my phone without a second thought. That's when I saw it. A notification. A new post. Curiosity got the better of me, and before I could stop myself, I clicked on it. It was her. A picture. Not just any picture, a picture of us. An old one from a trip we had taken together months ago. She looked happy, her arms wrapped around me, her smile wide and genuine. The caption? Some people are worth fighting for. Others throw it all away. I stared at the screen, a mixture of disbelief and amusement washing over me. This was her game now? Playing the victim? Trying to rewrite history as if she hadn't been the one who destroyed everything? I scrolled through the comments, unsurprised to see that her friends were already taking her side. You deserve better, one person wrote. If he really loved you, he wouldn't have left. Another added, some guys just don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. I almost laughed. If only they knew the truth. If only they knew that she had spent our anniversary in a hotel room with another man. That she had lied to me for weeks, maybe even months. That she wasn't the victim in this story, she was the villain. But I didn't respond. I didn't comment. I didn't send her a message telling her how pathetic she looked trying to manipulate the situation. Because at the end of the day, I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. The truth was already out there, whether she wanted to admit it or not. I put my phone down, shaking my head. That was the moment I knew without a doubt that I had won. Not because I got revenge. Not because I exposed her. But because I had something she would never have: peace. And then, as if the universe wanted to remind me that karma was always watching, something unexpected happened. A message popped up on my phone. Not from her. From someone else. Someone I hadn't heard from in a while. Hey, I know this is random, but I think you should see something. Attached was a screenshot. A conversation. And the second I read it, I realized karma had already started working its magic. She had moved on. Or at least she had tried to. But the guy she had cheated with? He wasn't as loyal as she thought. You're not the only one, the message read. He was seeing someone else the entire time. I stared at the screen, a slow smirk forming on my lips. Poetic justice. She had risked everything for this guy. Lied for him. Betrayed me for him. And now she was getting a taste of her own medicine. I didn't respond to the message. I didn't need to. Instead, I leaned back on the couch, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Because at the end of the day, I didn't have to do anything. Karma had taken care of it for me.